10864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown Oregon.
He can run and slam.
This is back out for a three. Left wing is good.
Deep to right field at the warning track. See ya.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
At the buzzer.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now. It's really fun to be a part of.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Huge win for Oregon.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Well, I didn't know if I was going to be here today. Fortunately, I am here today, but we already were scheduled to have Jordan here today, so it's Joey and Jordan on Duck Insider today. Jordan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm great. Now that I'm in this chair, the sidekick chair today.
Is that what it's called?
Well, it's the chair that causes a lot of disorder in the show. So I'm going to be interrupting you today. I'm going to, as best as I can.
Is that what that chair does? Because usually Jorgie sits in that chair.
Okay. Well, maybe it's that's the disorder chair over here.
I think that's the disorder chair, the chair way over there. But Scott has the flag, the yellow flag. You've seen the flag.
We've brought it up.
He
I
knows.
think you're the one who brought it out.
Yeah,
it was your conduct.
I did bring it up. So we've got a lot to get to today. I wasn't sure that I would be here. Fortunately, I am because men's basketball got it done in the NIT. Ducks taking down a pretty good Utah State team, 83-72. Really, it was the Davion Harmon show early. Davion carried the Ducks, was hitting some shots, and really no one else apart from Frank Kepnang early on was scoring. Next thing you know, it was Jacob Young's show in the second half. I thought Oregon really out-athleted, if that makes any sense to you, with Utah State in the second half. And so Oregon, they looked like the best team on the floor, and they earned the right now to move on to play Texas A&M. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, Texas A&M was tied with Alcorn State at halftime last night. They ended up winning the game. I don't know, maybe a little slow start, a little disappointed they weren't in the NCAA tournament.
Maybe.
Well, it turned out for the Ducks, though, because now they will advance to play Texas A&M. And I know everybody's asking the question, well, when do they play? Well, I don't know yet. We're going to find out hopefully tonight is the plan. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, I would suspect it's going to be on Saturday. So that means you got baseball, you got women's basketball, you got men's basketball, 2 basketballs in postseason all going on Saturday in addition to a bunch of other Oregon athletic events. And there's a reason that we have Jordan, Terry, and myself all over the place this weekend.
I'd like your thoughts on this. You got to see it in person, but You say they out-athleted Utah State yesterday. I think that really showed up on the defensive end. I thought Oregon protected the rim really well yesterday. And also, when you score 50 points in a half, you're going to have a really good chance to win. But what stood out to you from the defensive effort in the second half yesterday?
I thought that the defense was excellent, establishing a rim presence from Frank Kepnang early. And so Justin Bean, for those of you that are not familiar, he wore number 34 for Utah State.
Experienced.
Very experienced. Originally a walk-on. Very experienced.
That's a great story.
Yeah, averaged about a double-double, was about 0.2 rebounds shy of a double-double on his season average. He had 16 rebounds against the Ducks, but he wasn't scoring. And I thought he wasn't scoring because Frank Kepnang was really good inside. And that's without Infalidante. That's without Will Richardson. I know that's another question.
Nate Biddle had 3 blocks yesterday, hit a 3.
He did. I thought that Nate Biddle, first career triple, by the way, for the Oregonian.
We were texting about it. I mean, I still think there's a pretty huge future in front of him. I thought Dana Altman started to trust Nate Biddle a lot more as the season progressed. I thought that was exciting.
I think that he is the guy who has such great skill, and it's been on display like in that Pepperdine game. He really sparked Oregon to victory in that Pepperdine game, that non-conference game earlier this year. I thought that you make a great point. I mean, Nate Biddle was kind of forced to play some big minutes. He was always like, when Dante and Kepnang would get in foul trouble, that's when you'd see Nate Biddle. Well, now without Dante, you had to see him a lot more. Isaac Johnson, we saw him a little bit. Luke War got some run for the Ducks. I think they had to empty the bench. And I know a lot of people wondering, what about Will Richardson? What about Infalidante? Coach Altman, I think I would characterize it as optimistic that Dante may be able to come back for this next game. Will Richardson, optimistic, but we don't know. They both had non-COVID related illness, by the way. That's why they weren't able to make the trip with the Ducks.
A lot of the narrative entering this game and the questions that were being asked of Coach Altman after the tournament in Vegas was, well, how much does this team actually want to go to the NIT? I thought the care factor was at such a great level yesterday, and the NIT is a great chance to build momentum into next season. I thought Oregon relished the opportunity. They went into a hostile environment, and they got a really big win.
Which, by the way, shout out to the Aggie student section. They were as good as advertised.
Yeah,
they were as good as advertised. It was loud.
One of the greatest environments the Ducks have played in this season,
Probably. I mean, I think, the McHale Center, number one.
Always, yep.
The Ducks were a little bit fortunate. They did not play at UCLA when there were fans at Pauley. Right, that I think aided Oregon's effort to get that top 5 road win.
There were some great Matthew Knight Arena environments.
Those aren't hostile, right? Like those are supposed to fuel you.
True.
Sometimes good teams go into a hostile road environment though, and they're fueled by that. And Oregon did that at times last night. But yeah, Frank Kepnong, Nate Biddle combining for 5 blocks. Coach Altman, I think, was happy with the way the Ducks' effort. Or happy with the Ducks' effort, I should say, early on in the game and the way that they continued over the course of the entire game. So, hey, good win. And without N'Faly Dante, without Will Richardson, valuable minutes for the reserves. And I got to say, 300th win. The 300th win.
How spoiled
Dana Altman
are the Ducks
no
to
kidding.
have Dana Altman at the helm? I mean, that's really special. The 4th Pac-12 coach in the modern era to reach 300 wins.
Which is wild, right? I mean, that's a wild number to think about. So he and Tad Boyle are the longest tenured coaches in the Pac-12. They've both been at the helm of Oregon and Colorado, 2 NIT teams this year, coincidentally. They've both been at the helm of their respective programs now for 12 years. This is the 12th season. Getting to 300, though, he was already the winningest coach in Oregon basketball history. He's the winningest coach in Creighton basketball history. He's already a Hall of Famer for Creighton's Athletics Hall of Fame.
Did he? I thought he had a really funny comment after the Pac-12 tournament when he was referencing his time at Kansas State. He said, like a 1,000 years ago or 1,000,000 years ago or something. I mean, that just shows how long he's been doing it, how long he's been an unbelievable coach.
And I asked him this, actually, because you bring up a good point. I asked him this, have you ever played at Utah State? Because the Ducks hadn't played Utah State since 1965, which kind of surprised me because it's a somewhat regional matchup. Yeah, but I think the environment at Utah State says something about that. Teams don't really want to go to play there. I don't get the sense that the University of Utah basketball team wants to go up there and play. They don't get a lot out of doing that. And so I asked him, and he said, I was an assistant at Kansas State in the 80s. And I was like, wow, that was the last time Coach Altman was in Logan.
He's been around.
Yeah, he has been around. And so congratulations to Coach Altman, winningest coach in program history. The 4th Pac-12, you mentioned it, to 4th Pac-12 coach to reach that 300-win plateau. And this is key for this season. 20th win. Ducks got to win number 20. 12 straight 20-win seasons. One of 3 teams nationally that have done that have won 20 games in 12 straight years. I know that this season didn't go the way the Ducks wanted, didn't go the way fans wanted, didn't go the way the broadcaster wanted. I thought we'd be getting ready for an NCAA tournament game tomorrow. But here we are. They still got to 20 wins. That's still a pretty impressive streak, and it's pretty wild to think about. Like, that's a down year, and you're still one of 3 teams nationally that has had this sustained level of success.
And how about Oregon doing that without Will Richardson and N'Faly Dante yesterday? I thought that was
a big deal.
That really stood out to me, just how deep this program is. And I like the fact that we saw a lot of players playing yesterday who are going to be big parts of the team next year and really growing into their own. And, that's going into an environment like that, that's kind of going through a war, right? You have something under your belt to take with you going forward. Really stood out to me.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think that the foundation that can be laid from an NIT run, I actually think is a valuable one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like with football, right? You get those extra bowl practices. Well, it's similar with basketball, right? The Ducks are going to have different guys that are competing in different positions now, moving forward with the rest of this team. And then for guys like Jacob Young, I mean, this is his last ride,
He had a good game
Enjoy
yesterday,
it.
too. I
He
don't know
did.
if we've talked about him.
He had a great second half. Mm-hmm. I think early on he wasn't at his best, but he had a great second half, and he was just quicker than Utah State. And going into it, Coach Altman was like, that's the advantage that we have is the quickness. And they utilized that, I thought, in the second half. So the bracket update, Texas A&M. They were an NCAA tournament team. A lot of people thought.
Well, their head coach went on like a 5-minute monologue post-game yesterday about why they should have been a tournament team. He might have had a good point.
Well, maybe he did. I'm not on the committee, but I know a lot of people that keep track of these things, and they thought that they were going to be in. They got to the SEC title game. Not a bad year. So I've never been to College Station. I don't know what to expect.
I think they're pretty passionate down there.
You don't say.
That's what I hear. I don't know if you're into barbecue.
I hear. Maybe, has Rob Moseley ever been to College Station? He has not been to College Station, so we cannot get the scouting report on food from Rob Moseley. But we can talk about a lot of other things with Rob. So there you go. Coming up, but we'll know the game time hopefully soon. Keep your eyes peeled for that. Ducks, Texas A&M, second round of the NIT. A couple honors for Will Richardson we're going to talk about, but we're going to get a timeout because Rob's here, ladies and gentlemen. It's a round of applause. Rob looks thrilled. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Money isn't interested in the fact that you dream of going to Greece, and it doesn't pace at night wondering how you'll pay for braces 3 times. The point is, money without people is just money. Only people can use it to run the family ranch, buy their first house, or adopt a happy old dog. To us, the powerful thing about money isn't money at all. It's helping you harness the power of yours. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack, Jordan Brenner, joined by Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. A couple questions coming in from the comments that I was able to catch up on during the break. Tobias asking a couple, when does the higher seed hosting end in the NIT? It's when you actually get to Madison Square Garden in the championship round, so the Final Four of the NIT, if you will, the semifinals and the final. So the Ducks would likely, well, not likely, it's probably going to be the case for sure, on the road here moving forward until they could get to New York with the NIT run. And that mysterious tee on Isaac Johnson that led to a significant stoppage, it was during a transition play, and a Utah State athlete ran in front of him, and Isaac kind of pushed him in the back, and that's what led to the technical. So there are your questions. Rob, what'd you think of the game last night?
Well, I was happy for the guys. I mean, I think Dana expressed this after the game. It was just, I mean, probably not since the UCLA game had they really gotten to experience that kind of just fun, feeling, you know, a sense of accomplishment and achievement and enjoying an outcome. So I was happy for them. Yeah, it was funny. I was watching it at a local establishment.
Oh, good. Well done.
And a friend and coworker was a little late getting over there. And so we played a game of guess who just picked up a flagrant one. And he did not win. He did not guess who had just picked up a flagrant one correctly.
Okay, off the air, I need to ask you who said coworker was so that I can get a better sense here. But on the air, it was odd, right? I mean, I'll be honest. So like Rob, you're I don't know how you watch a game like when you're writing about it, but when I watch a game, and I think Jordan would agree, I'm so focused on where the ball is.
Yeah.
I don't really see what happens elsewhere. And so I didn't know what they were even looking at. I had no idea for like 3 minutes.
Same, yeah. As I said, I was at an establishment.
Sure. And you were listening to the radio broadcast, so you were as clueless as everybody
going
else.
on. Yeah. So, it wasn't until they showed the replay. I thought it was a legit call.
Yeah, I did too. And I think that's why
you can't let your frustrations get to you like that.
No doubt.
What was that sense of accomplishment that the team felt yesterday? Was that, feeling good for their head coach, getting a historic win for this program?
With all due respect to Coach Altman and all he's achieved, I think with what they've been through the last few weeks, it was just feeling like they played well and they won a game and they kept their season alive. Yeah, I mean, sure, was any of that on anyone's mind? I kind of doubt it.
It was on my mind.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was actually thinking about that in relation to, like, one thing we talk about sometimes is, like, court storming. And, like, there's always this juxtaposition between those of us who have sort of long institutional knowledge and then younger folks experiencing something in the moment and the institutional knowledge they may or may not bring to a situation. And
that was the best way for you to not say a young whippersnapper I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done. Good job, Rob. Please continue.
So, hopefully that makes sense. That there's certain things that we, by the nature of our jobs, and then at least me, by the nature of my age, you start to view things through a bigger prism. When in the moment, young people aren't aware of nearly as many of those circumstances, and you just get caught up in the moment for the moment's sake, and that's what makes it so great. Is that it's not any of that. It's just we won a game and we played well, and it's been a while, and we get to play again together. Every year's team is a little bit different, and those guys care about each other. They like playing together. They want to do so for as long as possible. The frustrations they've experienced probably made it even more, fun. With all due respect to Utah State, beating Utah State in an NIT game is nobody's idea of kind of where you want to be right now in your season, and yet the joy of a win like that gets amplified based on just how it feels like. I think they've been kicked in the teeth a few times the last few weeks. Some by their own doing, some by just circumstances of games that didn't go their way. It was just good to see them having fun and enjoying themselves and playing well and getting a chance to celebrate.
I wanted to ask you about spring football, which got going, the practices. I think fans are interested in learning about the type of practices that Dan Lanning and his staff runs.
Sure.
Every staff is a little bit different.
Sure.
How was Dan Lanning running the show this weekend?
Yeah, I thought there were differences, subtleties, and some more obvious. I mean, I music was playing a little more frequently during practice.
I heard rumors that he had a microphone out and he was.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And less the second day than the first. I think the first day he was really conscientious of. Here's what the next drill is. Here's where everybody needs to be in your different pods, whether it's smaller pods or bigger pods, and making sure everything's on track. And so, he was on the mic pretty consistently from period to period, the first practice, the second practice, and we only got 2 in before now this break we're on. It was less of that. There were a couple times that it happened, but less frequently. And he said afterward, that was a good sign that, he wants things to be more efficiently. I mean, if you're on the field, you're getting work done. You're not standing around. You're not walking between drills, anything like that. So, that sense of urgency is not that different, but just the way he sort of keeps things moving. I mean, everything stylistically is going to be a little different. And then there were some of the drills, in the last couple of years, once stretch got done, a lot of times the very first drill would be like a ball security circuit, and then you'd go into position drills. I don't know exactly how to describe what all is going on because I don't know exactly what they're working on and exactly what kind of groups they're divided up into, but it seems to be a longer period of more sort of game techniques. I mean, there's some guys fielding kicks in those first couple periods, which I don't think we'd see as much. There's just a little bit more of an extended sense of, hey, let's get in some game type drill work before we get into larger group situations, but even before we get into just pure position group work too for a few periods. So, again, some things that to my eye seemed noticeably different, some things that were a little more subtly different. At the end of the day, it's a football practice, so you can't reinvent the wheel completely.
Rob Moseley with us, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. Every Wednesday he joins us. Rob, you and I talked about this on the Quackman, and I think it's worth repeating as the Ducks are now in finals week and then spring break to pause spring practice before they come back and resume here end of this month. We always and fans always like to ask, well, who's standing out, right? Well, I thought it was cool. You brought up a great point on the Quack Minute that at this time of year, sometimes it's nice just to see guys back out there working out. And there's been a few examples of that, which has been pretty nice.
Yeah, the very first day, seeing Sean Dollars out there running around, cutting it loose was awesome because he's such a great kid and, couldn't do a whole lot last year. Steve Stevens is another guy who's just a home run guy, just fun to be around. And, his season got cut short last year. I mean, there's a lot of examples of that. And there's still a couple guys we're waiting on, Popo, a couple of those other guys that, it's going to be fun to see them make that same transition back into action. And after that, were banged up late last season. But, just a few different examples of that. There's, position battles and conversations like that to have down the road. And obviously for me, your first chance to see Christian Gonzalez and Bo Nix and guys like that. And, all those transfers, really look the part. And that's fun too. But, kind of just on a personal level as much as anything, to see those guys get back on the field was really good I was happy for them.
Did you hear anything from the coaching staff? I guess Dan Lanning talked to the media after the practice this weekend. What stood out to Coach Lanning? Well, this was his first time on the field getting a feel for a lot of those players.
Yeah, I think he's talked about since he got here that he's been struck by just how competitive these guys are, that he hasn't really had to prod them to work harder or to get after it any harder. I mean, I think as we talked about, there's some organizational issues that he's trying to kind of reinforce when they're on the practice field and make sure from an efficiency standpoint, everybody's getting where they need to be to do the work, but that once guys go about the business of doing a drill, getting in themselves in a competitive situation, I think he feels really good about kind of where this group is at. I mean, I think there really is a sense of, we've had transitions here in the past where it felt like, okay, we got to regroup a little bit. We got to maybe change the way we do things. I think he has a sense here that, there was a pretty good foundation, both from a talent, personnel point of view and then just sort of a culture point of view, but that he can also just sort of raise that level as well and just enhance some things. You don't want to just sit back and keep doing what you're doing exactly the same because, as they say, it's a cliche, but, if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So just find ways to continually try to improve.
You're outfitted for an Oregon basketball road trip, hitting the road. Women's basketball. Yep. Rob's going to be with them tomorrow. Follow along on social media at GoDucks Moseley. Reports on GoDucks.com. You're going to be the multimedia man on the road trip, as you always are.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating trip with the Oregon women. It feels like it could last several weeks, but, the roller coaster that they've, Kelly Graves acknowledges they've been on, it's
You packed the big suitcase, though, right?
I haven't even packed yet. That's
okay.
I'm a old newspaper guy. We work on deadlines, and the deadline is still way out there.
All right.
Somewhere tomorrow morning, maybe? I don't know. But that's the thing, and the way travel works in a tournament like this, you could go from one destination to the next. Right. So, it's just going to be fascinating to see how this tournament plays out. I mean, obviously the ceiling for this program is pretty high. If you can just get things to click, but getting things to click on a consistent basis has been a challenge. So, I think it was really good they had that week off while the men were wrapping up their season. Based, both for the frustrations of their last game and needing some time from that, but just I think to really reinforce, hey, it's a new season, and you can be who you hope to be. Regroup a little bit mentally. Tahina Paopao talked about that a little bit after the loss to Utah, that maybe unplugging for a couple of days, getting away from basketball was something she was looking forward to, but then come back refreshed. I think if you follow her on Instagram, it was only a couple of days later she was back in the gym.
That's right.
Getting in work, getting in shots. So she loves the game as they all do. So and it's just it's a fun, for me personally, it's a fun group to be around. So I'm really looking forward to the trip.
At the same time, it's still a one game at a time situation. I mean, you got to be completely locked in on Belmont, and it seems like
I don't.
Coach Graves in the group has to be locked in on Belmont. They upset a 5 seed just a year ago.
Right. No, and that's part of why you say you don't know what to expect because given the competition too, you're going against a team that won in this exact situation and has basically the same team back. And if you do manage to get through that game, now you're playing on somebody else's home court.
Seems like Oregon has quite the size advantage against Belmont, and that might be something they try to rely on.
Yeah, I mean, that was what we were talking about going into the Utah game too, though, and it just, and I think that's part of the frustration with this group is, best laid plans. Sometimes, you look at a matchup going in and think, oh, here's what we got to do, and if we just do this, it's right there in front of you. And yet still that's, it's easier said than done, and the opponent finds ways to try to avoid getting exploited that way. So that's why they play the games, right?
You ever been to Tennessee?
I was there for the football game in 2010, yeah.
So you've been in Knoxville.
It was quick, but it was memorable in a lot of ways. Weather, Michael James.
The weather, yep.
Loud, big crowd.
So do you have a scouting report for fans on what they should do while they're in Knoxville if they're making the trip?
No, because I remember being in and out.
All right.
I do not remember. This is when I was working with Register Guard. It was a lot of brain cells ago. But I remember thinking I was not there that long. Like I don't have like a great like Friday night before the game memory. Right. Like I don't think I really went out and explored much.
Right.
So
no, then never mind.
Hopefully we're there for a few days.
That's right. So come back with that scouting report. All right?
Exactly.
Softball, you were at the Jane this weekend. That was fun to be back at the Jane.
It was, and they have a Zoom coming up at 1:30. Am I doing okay?
You're done.
4 minutes.
Okay.
You're done. Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. Thanks for the time, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, softball was phenomenal, and I went to their Diamond Ducks dinner the other night too. Fundraiser for them. Yeah. Awesome. Talk about an awesome group to be around. Like I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to really immerse myself in more coverage of them and the baseball team.
Yeah.
I'm kind of bummed not to be at baseball this weekend with their new video board.
Me too.
Up. It looks like PK Park's gonna be a fun place to be.
I'll lock it down.
Good job. Yeah. We're gonna talk about baseball coming up. Jake Angier, pitching coach, met with the media just a little while ago. We got that for you coming up. Full Oregon baseball preview. Rob, get the heck out of here.
Appreciate you guys.
Go do your real job.
Thank you. Sorry
Safe
about
travels,
that.
okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
He's Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. On Twitter, @GoDucksMoseley. Off to ask some of the hard-hitting questions, not softballs, at the softball media availability.
Touche, yeah. And I hope everybody enjoyed this segment because I feel like we're going to lose a lot of viewers going forward once we have these masks off starting next week.
Probably true. Faces for radio.
Right. Anybody who just tuned in since the pandemic started is in for a rude awakening.
Rude awakening. And with that, we're going to talk baseball next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
Attention Student Rocket League gamers. The $125,000 Level Next Rocket League Spring Showcase is back.
And free entry is now open.
Rep your school in the Level Next Rocket League Spring Showcase to win the championship trophy, ring, and part of the $125,000 prize pool. Like this opportunity, food is too good to be wasted. With Best Foods, you can save more and waste less food. # make taste, not waste. Registration closes March 27th. Sign up now at levelnextesports.com.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
If a natural disaster comes knocking, how prepared is your family? You can't just close the door on earthquakes, floods, or hurricanes and hope they go away. That's why it's important to make a plan now. Ready.gov/plan has the tools and tips you need to prepare your family for an emergency. So if disaster shows up at your doorstep, you'll be ready. Visit ready.gov/plan and make a plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. He's Jordan Brenner. I'm Joey Mack. We got baseball coming up this weekend. We're going to hear from Jake Angier, Oregon pitching coach. He met with the media just a little while ago. He was good?
I thought he was good.
That's good.
And we don't get to hear from him much.
We don't.
So it was almost a different perspective. A lot of pitching questions, which you want to see.
And we do so many interviews with Mark Wasikowski. I mean, an average of 4 interviews with Mark Wasikowski between you and me every week. Not to mention what he does with the general media every week. So we hear a lot from Mark Wasikowski. So I agree. It's going to be fun to hear from Jake Angier coming up in just a little bit. We are going to hear a little bit from Dana Altman. Mostly I want to play my post-game interview from yesterday with Coach Altman because I asked him a question where I was basically just congratulating him on getting to 300 wins and 20 wins in the season.
And let me guess, did he put it down or
he completely did not answer the question in the way that you would expect Coach Altman to do so.
Threw it to the side.
So we're going to hear that in a second. First, though, Will Richardson, senior guard, been named to the USBWA District 9 All-District team as well as the NABC District 19 All-District First team. It was announced today. The 2 teams, actually one announced yesterday, one announced today. Second team All-Pac-12 selection for the Ducks, so we hope that he's going to make his way back and play for the Ducks here on this NIT run. He's been out the last week or so with a non-COVID-related illness, but 2 All-District team honors for Will Richardson, deserving.
Glad he got celebrated because he's a historic Duck. He's had a lot of great moments, and I think he had a really solid season this year.
Agreed. Let's hear from Coach Altman, huh?
Yeah. Brought to you by Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care you can count on.
Coach, let's start with just how proud you are of your team. What'd you like from the performance here tonight?
Well, I just thought the guys stayed together, and Jacob got it going the second half. Tough first half with the 2 fouls. Quincy had a tough first half with the 2 fouls, but guys stayed together. I thought Waldo really gave us a big lift. I thought he did a tremendous job. Davion carried us the first half, and then I thought he made some good plays the second half for guys. So I just thought it was a good team effort. We got some good minutes out of Nate off the bench, and Luke Ward gave us a couple minutes. I like the guys' effort. I thought they fought adversity better tonight. When things didn't go our way, we kind of hung in there. And the defensive effort the second half I thought was really good. The first half we just made scouting report mistakes, which are always so disappointing. Just, giving threes to guys we knew that, in the second half I thought we did a tremendous job. They only went 2 for 12. I thought we ran guys off the line much better.
Talking about the minutes from some of your young guys, you touched on it there. Just how valuable was it to have some of those guys step up?
Oh, it was really, Nate hit a big 3 in the first half, got him going a little bit. I thought he blocked a shot, nice. Luke, really made Eric a 3 in the second half. Remember the ball movement. He had a pretty good look in the corner, but he gave it to Eric for a wide open shot. So a lot of good things. Really happy for the guys. Wish we'd have hit free throws a little better, just finish it out. But guys did a good job.
Hitting some threes. Had to feel nice to hit a few here.
Yeah,
tonight.
We've been shooting it so bad. Felt like we shot the heck out of it, just going 8 for 19.
Yeah.
In our last 8 games, we've shot at 24%. We haven't hit any shots, and we had some open ones. We just couldn't get it in. But today, for whatever reason, we hit a few and some pretty good looks. And so really a fun game for the guys. They're feeling pretty good. So we'll get back tonight and figure out next step and go from there.
Well, I can tell you, Coach, that while we were talking, Texas A&M did beat Alcorn State 74-62, so it's time for a crash course on another Aggies team.
Yeah, we'll make the trip down to A&M and be a real tough game. They went to finals of the Southeast Conference, so be a real difficult assignment for us, long trip.
Lastly, Coach, just congratulations. It's another 20-win season, 12 straight, and number 300 for you as the head coach at Oregon.
Well, the guys really did a good job, and so happy for them. They're in the locker room feeling good, and it's been a tough year for the guys, and just to see them smiling and feeling good and going on the road. Had great crowd. The students were good tonight here, and so it was good for the guys.
Thanks for the time, Coach.
You bet.
Appreciate it. Well, I don't know what else I could have asked.
It's simultaneously his best quality and his worst quality.
Oh,
I mean, Coach, he's so humble, which is something you love, but he's got to take some credit for that accomplishment.
So let me just say, I had a feeling that was the way it was going to go. So let me just now go on record and be like, congratulations to Coach Altman for number 300 as the head coach at Oregon. That's right. He deserves it, and he would be the first to always say that, right? Like, well, the only reason that I'm here is because we had good players. Well, good players only want to come and play for a good coach. And that's what Coach Altman is. So I hope that the Ducks can continue that run. Texas A&M, we still don't have a game time as we're live with you in the 1 o'clock hour. Keep an eye on social media tonight. The rest of the NIT games are going on today, so we should have confirmation of a game time for the Ducks and Texas A&M on Saturday. And if anybody's listening and if I have any weight to throw around, please don't schedule it anytime around 2:30 or 3 o'clock because that's when Oregon women's basketball and Oregon baseball are playing. Okay.
I hope they listen.
I've done my part.
I know you pull a lot of weight. You have connections. You can make that happen.
About as much weight to pull as this pen. See, and the weight's gone now. When we come back, we're going to talk a little Oregon baseball. Jordan's going to have you covered this weekend. Pac-12 home opener at PK Park, and the new video board will be debuted. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Thanks for calling Toyota. This is Jan. How can I help?
Hey, Jan. Say, is now a good time for a new Toyota?
You bet it is. Now through April 4th is the perfect time to shop for a RAV4, Tundra, Tacoma, Corolla, and more. Imagine yourself in a RAV4. Where would you go first?
Skinny Al's Barbecue.
I'm imagining you inviting me.
Let your imagination run wild at your participating Toyota dealer. Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Baseball coming up this weekend. Couple good questions coming in on the comments. Ronald saying, hey, would be awesome if the station the baseball game is being broadcast on Eugene at PK Park was posted on the wall. I hear you. I will suggest that. I think that's a good idea. Look, at the end of the day, our buddies at Cumulus here in Eugene, so 95.3 The Score, and then traditionally KUGN AM 590, also an FM signal on KUGN 98.1 FM. So when I'm listening to Jordan now, and if I'm in Eugene when he's on the road, I get to listen on an FM station when you're on KUGN, because 98.1 FM. So yeah, it's either going to be 98.1 FM or 95.3 FM in Eugene. It does depend on women's basketball, men's basketball, and that's honestly, Ronald, why I'm saying I hope that the men's team for basketball and the NIT does not play at the same time because it does affect things. We might have to be moving the baseball game between stations. We'll be talking with our buddies at Cumulus about that. So,
hey, is it possible for you to be in multiple places at once? Have we explored that?
You know, as the nerd that I am, I truly believe that we can invent a teleporter someday. There's just too many science fiction ideas of how to do this. Someone smarter than me is going to have to figure that out,
I think the fans are ready to hear a two-man baseball broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, we've done, 2 of them this year?
Something like that.
More than that. I think we've done a few more.
2 or 3.
So we'll see. But, yeah, I totally hear you, Ronald. So we're doing our best on that one. I will tell you, though, that it's always going to be 98.1 FM or 95.3 FM for baseball unless there's some – like this weekend, maybe there will be a change, and we'll let you know on that. So, also, this is a good question. You've heard Rivaldo Soares or Waldo. His name is Rivaldo Soares. His nickname is Waldo. The story there is that previously Rivaldo Soares had a coach that just could not pronounce his name right, and so it stuck. That's truly the story. It was before he got to Oregon, and so Waldo just stuck. I kind of wish it was a better story than that, but that is the story. Meanwhile, Oregon baseball this weekend, Jordan, you're going to be on the call. Pac-12 home opener, Ducks. They're, tied for first place with, everybody in the Pac-12 right now.
So far, so good. Going to be interesting to see R.J. Gordon getting the ball on a Friday night. He's earned that rep after how he's thrown in the bullpen. He was excellent on Friday night. Maybe the reason why Oregon won that baseball game at Stanford on Friday night. So he also talked to the media today, and Jake Angier talked about his pitching staff a whole lot. I think it's going to be a really informative interview.
Coach, just taking 2 out of 3 at Stanford, number 2 team in the country, just your overall feelings and what you saw from the team that past weekend?
Yeah, I just saw a lot of fight from the guys. Offensively, we were relentless all weekend, which was cool to see. We gave up 8 runs in the first couple innings on Saturday, and offense came firing back and just kind of stayed with it and really hung in there for 9 innings on Saturday, which eventually gave us a win. So it was really cool to just see the resilience of our team over the course of the weekend. I thought we played really good defense after the first inning on Friday, and pitched well on Friday, pitched good in some spots on Saturday. Sunday we didn't pitch very well, didn't finish the weekend the way we wanted to, which is something we'll emphasize moving forward, is just finishing off on a weekend.
Any further updates on Adam Mayer?
No, we're just still in the figuring out stage. He's got some meetings that he has to take care of, and then we'll know more soon.
Is that a weekend where I think the rest of the country kind of opens their eyes? Oregon goes to Stanford, takes 2 out of 3. Do you inside the locker room pay attention to stuff like that, or is it just keeping it internal?
Not really. I mean, I think that guys see what the clippings or the social media posts say, throughout the week. But we do try to keep, we have a good feeling about our team, and we know what our team is capable of. And so it's not a surprise to us when we do well. And so I think, just continuing to stick with that and not get too focused on what the outside world thinks or doesn't think of your baseball team is what's important.
What's going to be the key for the starting rotation moving forward? What type of work is going into that?
Yeah, just getting deeper into games. That it obviously takes the burden off our bullpen. I felt like our bullpen felt that burden on Sunday, after having to really, by design, we knew that Friday was going to go that way, but didn't get a good start on Saturday. And then, the bullpen was in there in the second inning on Saturday and just kind of pressed us on Sunday as far as, guys pitching in the roles that they should be in and so forth. So really just need to start getting some good starts. It starts with me. I need to help these guys more in practice and ultimately get these guys in positions where they can be, successful during the games situationally.
Who stood out to you back there in the bullpen as having really good seasons so far?
Rio Britton's been really good. Summers has been good for us. A number of guys in the bullpen have been good. We really need to solidify the starting rotation is really what has created some of the issues in the middle innings with our bullpen. If you can get good starts, then you're leaning on the main guys at the end of the game, and those guys have pitched well for us. Rio, Summers, Matt Dallas is coming on strong lately, and R.J. Gordon was really good for us last weekend and previous weekends out of the pen. He's going to obviously start this Friday. I think he's earned that. He's had some long relief efforts out of the bullpen and done a nice job, and was one of the guys that we were looking at to be a starter before the season started. So looking forward to getting him out there and moving forward with him.
You mentioned that Gordon is the probable starter for Friday. You guys last week went with Sloan to start, and then Aon, and then Brandenburg. Do you guys have a similar? Have you and Wallace sat down and kind of built out the rotation yet for this weekend?
Yeah, so we're going to go Gordon Friday, Aon Saturday, and Sloan will start Sunday. Sloan's just not, as far as the pitch count build up, he's not where Gordon is yet, because Gordon had some long relief efforts out of the bullpen in previous outings, which puts him in a position to maybe get more innings, from him out of a start. So that's why Caleb pitched good on Friday. That's why we're just moving him to Sunday, because RJ's a little bit more built up at this point.
Isaac's had 2 really good home starts and then 2, not really great on the road. Do you think there's anything to that? Is it like in his head, or is it just just kind of how baseball goes?
No, I think that the opening weekend, I don't think many guys pitched well. I thought he pitched well the last couple weeks leading up to this last one. His stuff just wasn't very good against Stanford, and they're a really talented team with hitters that are trying to do well, too. They're trying hard too. So just one of those outings that didn't go his way.
A couple really exciting moments that injected some juice into the dugout this past week. And you think about the Tanner Smith home run. I thought Stone Chirby got a huge double play ball on Friday. Gavin Grant, the base clearing double on Saturday. What's kind of the reaction from the team when something kind of crazy happens like that in the middle of a ball game?
Well, we're anticipating it. Our guys, one thing, they believe in each other, and they really support each other, and they've shown that all year. And so we're anticipating those big moments, and those are moments that we talk about, prior to the game and the preparation and the lead up to it. Is that's what's fun about baseball, when Jack Scanlon gets a wild pitch off the wall and is diving headfirst into home to tag a guy out to end an inning, to save a run. That's a big deal. When Smith hits a home run in the bottom or the top of the ninth, the way he did on Friday, those are could be not just a game-changing moment, but a program-changing moment for the season when those things happen. And so, it's exciting, and the guys just like to have fun with it.
That shows some toughness too. I mean, when your rotation goes through the upheaval it's been experienced in the last few weeks, that could have a trickle-down effect. And yet it seems like the other elements of the team have really been still finding ways to excel.
Yeah, and that's a mark of a good team. When you can find ways to win when one phase isn't going right, I think that's when you got a good ball club. We made some plays and had some good at-bats when we needed them, last weekend. And like you mentioned with Stone Chirby, after you give up the run to tie the game, he gets a double play to get out of it with bases loaded, instead of letting it spiral right there. That was a big momentum deal, even though we gave up a run to tie it right there. So it comes down to making pitches and executing on the pitching side, making plays when you get those chances defensively, and and offensively, when you get a mistake that you can handle, taking care of it and putting a good swing on it.
One thing I've noticed early on in the season is just the defense's approach to Jacob Walsh. I feel like every Friday there's a shift against Walsh, and then they realize, oh, this is a freshman who can go the other way. I think he has something like 11 multi-hit games in his first 16 or so career starts. As a pitching coach, what makes it so difficult to throw to Jacob Walsh?
Well, he's got a lot of confidence. He believes in himself. He's got a track record of being successful. I think he knows he's pretty good. And so when you're, we compete against him, in practice all the time with our pitching staff. So we know what he's capable of, and he's beyond his years as far as like the mentality and the approach goes. Coming in as a freshman, just the way he handles himself, it's pretty cool to see.
A lot of free bases seemingly in the losses that you guys have had this year, walks or hit by pitches. As a pitching coach, what do you guys work on behind the scenes? Is it a release point issue? Is it just finding consistency and a balance, or just what do you go through?
Yeah, it could be a number of reasons. It can be, mechanics. It could be just the mentality, of that pitcher in that moment. It could be, having the guys in the right matchups and the right situations to where you're setting them up to be successful as a coach. And I know that, our coaching staff, with me in particular, I'm, that's my job to do a better job, helping those guys and getting them in the right situations and really, setting up practice to where they're going to be prepared, to be better than that in the game. And, we'll attack it this week, but it's going to be different depending on the guy that you're talking about. And I think that, we'll figure it out over the time.
What's the scout on Utah this weekend?
They're a good team. They're older, and they got a head coach that's been around the block. He's a really good coach, and he's in his first year, so I'm sure there's some energy with that program. Having him in there, he's a really good coach, and he's going to have his team prepared. They're 11-4-1, so they've played well so far. They're doing a good job with their pitching staff. They're striking some guys out. They're limiting the walks. Opponent batting average is down. So they're doing some good things. And then offensively, they're old. They're veteran. They're going to put together really good at bats, and so it's going to be a tough matchup for us.
As I was driving in, they were testing out the new video board. Just what kind of asset can that be, just for the game day experience? For recruiting. I don't know if that's an asset for you guys in that facet as well. But just excitement to see that in operation this weekend.
Yeah, you said it. Just all-around experience, I think, is what we get from that. I mean, from a recruiting standpoint, when you have recruits in and can see that and see what the atmosphere is at the ballpark, that presents us is awesome. And then for our players, they get a different experience just by having that video board as well. And then, obviously the reason we do it is for the fans, so that they can, have a more, I guess, updated look at a fan experience like you get in the big leagues. That video board is a big league scoreboard, and so it's going to be exciting to see what they're able to do with it and the experience that these guys get.
That video board is a big league scoreboard.
For a team that I think has a few big leaguers.
I agree, but I love that quote from Jake Angier, the Oregon pitching coach, meeting with the media today, previewing the weekend series. Hey, if you're with us live approaching 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we now have a tip time for Oregon's second-round NIT game against Texas A&M. It is slated for 9 a.m. Pacific time. 9 a.m. Pacific time on ESPN. That means an 8:30 pregame show with me on the Oregon Sports Network, so breakfast with the Ducks. 8:30 pregame show, 9 a.m. tip-off for Oregon at Texas A&M in the second round of the NIT.
Those are my favorite mornings. You wake up, you're the
sports
first voice I hear.
Oh, boy.
8:30.
That's not good. That's not
good.
Get
the coffee out, as
flag on the play.
First media timeout, you get breakfast together. I didn't even see this. That's for me. What? Why? What did I do to earn this?
First voice I hear. Oh, that's great. I don't know. The first voice I hear in the morning is probably my dog. We got to get you a dog.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
My birthday's coming up pretty soon.
Okay,
good.
Months. Good. So anyway, we've got that's great though for Duck fans, because that means that Oregon men's basketball from like that 9 a.m. to 11:15 window. Then you get a chance to have a little bit of lunch. You've got a little bit of beach volleyball to follow throughout their trip down to San Jose, California. Then Oregon softball plays at 1 o'clock in Salt Lake City. And I did see a question earlier if there was going to be a video stream for Utah softball. I would assume there's going to be a video stream, but I can tell you that the guys from KWVA are making the trip. Ryan Milano is going out there for KWVA, so you get the student radio hometown broadcast. 1 o'clock. Then the women will tip off at about 2:30 in Knoxville, and Oregon baseball with a 3 o'clock first pitch against Utah. I have a feeling we might see some late arriving fans at PK Park based on how the women's game plays out. So great day for Oregon athletics. When we come back, we're going to wrap things up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCAA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
These are the sounds of a dinner. A dinner that almost didn't happen. A dinner now served, thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you. If you're just joining us, Jordan Brenner with us again today. He's got Oregon baseball for you this entire weekend because I will be traveling with Oregon men's basketball out to College Station. Now, programming note for you, normally we never do shows the Thursday and Friday of the NCAA tournament because there's there's too many logistics of Terry's traveling, I'm traveling, baseball's got series. We just don't have enough people. And oftentimes the games end up overlapping with our Duck Insider broadcast window anyway. So Thursday and Friday, we already don't have shows scheduled for you. So we kind of crammed everything into the week. And, well, I'll be traveling out to College Station, 9 a.m. We now know, we found out here during the show today, 9 a.m. will be the tip-off time on Saturday, 8:30 pregame for the Ducks and Texas A&M in the second round of the NIT in College Station.
Something tells me that even though Duck Insider's not on the air the next 2 days, there's not going to be a shortage of content for sports fans in the Eugene area.
No, I don't think so. Meanwhile, yesterday you got it in right at the end of the show, and I wanted to mention it again because women's golf, another Ducks win graphic is always a good one to show. A women's golf team pulled away from a loaded field on Tuesday, claim its second win in a row, third of the 21-22 season, and the fourth in the last calendar year. The Ducks are up to number 2 in the country. They're behind only Stanford, and by the way, the Pac-12 championships are hosted in Eugene.
Look at all that hardware.
That is a lot of hardware.
Ducks
Congratulations, though.
Loaded field, too. Not just, like, anybody in there. Wake Forest in there, Virginia in there.
And that's number 6, Virginia, number 5, Wake Forest. But the Ducks, again, they're hosting the Pac-12 championships in Eugene.
You might
have 1 versus 2 in the country.
As if they need a home course advantage.
Right. They clearly don't. So congratulations to Derek Radley and his squad. That does it for us. For Jordan Brenner, Scott Phillips, I'm Joey Mack. Alex Simpson has the flag.
America, your children have an amazing superpower. That's right. They can help save lives by simply washing their hands. Just 20 seconds of thorough hand washing after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside can help fight against the dastardly spread of germs. Armed with only soap and water and hands, your superhero can protect you, your family, and everyone out there in America land. Amazing! Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.